Charles Barkley, the Hall of Famer, is joining us. I mean, you've probably gambled a few times in your day. Michael gambled. I mean, how do you, when you hear all these stories about Michael and gambling and the media saying, do you have a problem, does it bother you, the coverage of the media asking those questions?
Well, number one, I love to gamble, so I'm probably biased. But listen, Michael liked to gamble. You know, Colin, one thing. Number one, you're doing a great job this morning just discussing this stuff. I've never been in a casino by myself, to be honest with you, Colin. So clearly there's other people who like to gamble.
That is funny.
I always tell people, obviously I've told people I love to drink. I've never been in a bar by myself. Other people have been in there. So I like to drink. I like to gamble. I know Michael likes to drink and he likes to gamble. And obviously, the only thing that's crazy, I've been around him, the numbers he gambles with, I can't afford those numbers.
Right.
So I think that's what made some people disconcerting. Yeah.
It's pretty well documented. You guys at one point had a friendship. It's not as great now or whatever. And you're a very, the thing about you, Charles, you're very vulnerable on the air. You're very brutally honest. And it's at one point I saw a quote where you said, it hurts. And I thought, yeah, I don't like it either. I don't like two people I love not getting along. Today, this morning, does it still bother you? Are you still hurt?
Yeah, of course. A guy was a great, great friend, like a brother. And I said some things that, number one, I don't regret saying it. I got to do my job.
Right.
And that sucks. It plain out sucks. But, Colin, you've been in this business. You're a legend in this business. I'm not just saying this because I'm on your show. Like, you probably had to say some things about people you like.
Yes.
And it sucks.
Yes.
And I tell people, wait, I don't go on the air every week saying, hey, I'm going to bash this guy, but sometimes you have to say some things, and it sucks. Because, like I say, I love all these NBA players, but you have to do your job. And I know you've been in this thing 100 years. You probably had to criticize guys you like, guys you've been out to drink with, guys you play golf with or whatever, and it sucks, but you got to do your job.
Oh, yeah. Tyronn Lue called me last year and yelled at me, and it was great. But he wanted, and I've always said, like, I'll Richie Incognito, Terrell Owens, it isn't fun. But I also think you and I have a responsibility to be honest, and honesty's hard. Right?
It's so funny. You're talking about all the political stuff. And let's talk about honesty for a second. People want you to be honest, but they only want you to be honest when they agree with you.
Thank you.
That's it. That's the one thing that sucks about honesty. People are like, well, Charles is honest. Like, yeah, when the people agree with you, and you're talking about the political stuff. Can you imagine if a player, not even have to? Because I remember like a year ago, they found a Donald Trump hat in Tom Brady's locker.
Yeah.
And America like lost their damn mind. Like, wait a minute, he can wear whatever hat he wants to. He can vote for who he wants to. But can you imagine if? I don't want to use LeBron. That's too easy.
Yeah.
Let's say Steph Curry, who's a great, great person and player, came out and said he was going to vote for Trump. Can you imagine the backlash that he would take? I mean, the media, the fans, a certain percentage would go crazy. Like, some of them would love it, obviously, but a certain percentage would go crazy. So I'm not going to get on Michael. Listen, let me ask you another question, Colin.
Yeah.
Name me one political statement that Larry Bird, Magic Johnson, Tom Brady made. Now, Tom Brady's a lot older, but name me one player back in that day who said anything political. Anybody. Magic Johnson, who I love to death, he got more political now with Twitter and things like that, but he never made any political statement back when Michael was in his heyday. Same thing with Bird or me or Karl Malone. Nobody made social statements back then.
It's funny you say that, Charles. And this is where I don't think I should have strong opinions. As an African-American, you have endured things I have not. So have you ever felt a responsibility to address certain things? Doug Gottlieb came on and said, if it's anti-Semitic, I'm Jewish, it's hurtful, and I'm going to address it. So have you ever, African-American male, Do you feel a responsibility sometimes to address things that I wouldn't?
Yes, I have all, and I feel like I've done a good job talking about it too. To be honest with you, I think that there's many times I've addressed things that happen for the black community, and I have no problem doing that. I think it's important and significant, but like you have to pick and choose because you would be busy all the time.
Yeah,
and you would be busy all the time because listen, let me tell you something. Being black is stressful because there's something that happens every week, every month that, like you talk about racial injustice all the time. So I think you have to be selective because fans don't turn on basketball, football, baseball to hear you talk about social issues all the time.
Right.
That's actually the fine line you have to walk.
Yeah.
Like I say, I think you have to be very selective on what you talk about because there's actually something that could happen every single day.
Yeah. No, I pick and choose. I mean, I'm not a Trump fan, but I also work for Fox, so I do my jabs occasionally. But no, I think people largely tune into me for sports, and I'm comfortable with that. I don't think people look to me for anything else other than that, and I'm comfortable with that. Charles Barkley joining us. So I want to talk about this whole, the Isaiah thing is funny. You get along with virtually everybody. But when I watched the special last night, the documentary, it's not like Michael was the only guy that wasn't a huge fan of Isaiah Thomas. And I think of you as somebody that is gregarious and gets along with everybody. But after last night, I'm thinking, Charles, was it just Michael or Isaiah wasn't what they call a very good hang?
You know, it's interesting to me. That's obviously in my day.
Yeah,
I've never heard anybody say. I mean, obviously, I think the Pistons made a mistake not shaking Michael's hand.
Right.
I think they were 100% wrong. But when I was asked about the Dream Team, Isaiah Thomas' name never came up ever. Michael, and listen, at that time, me and Michael are great friends. He never mentioned to me privately, like if he asked you about Isaiah, that never happened. But I'm a big Isaiah Thomas fan. I thought that he got a bad rap last week, to be honest with you, because, Michael called him a name and he felt like he needed to come out there and defend himself, which is rightfully so. But I listen, Isaiah's always treated me great, and obviously I'm biased because I work with him now.
Yeah.
But I thought that he got a bad rap because if you go back and look at that documentary, Lambert's the one who started all the crap, walking off. And even Isaiah, to his credit, he says, "I wish I had did that differently."
Yeah.
So I thought he took a beating last week for no reason.
Yeah. As I watch this, you have said before you don't want to be on social media because it's a bunch of trolls and nobodies, and you're not wrong. The one thing I keep coming back to, Jerry Krause was kind of a short, heavy nerd. He just couldn't accept the fact that the players were winning the games. And God, every time I want to give Jerry Krause credit, I watched last night, and I'm like, can you just get out of the way? Have you ever worked for a general manager in your life that you felt was either jealous or needy? I can't believe how needy Jerry Krause is.
But Colin, I'm going to have to stop you, man, because I think you're 100% wrong on this.
All right.
First of all, Jerry Krause probably was needy. But I think the guy y'all are letting off the hook is Jerry Reinsdorf. I think this notion that Jerry Krause broke up the Bulls, if you go back and look at it, okay, they let Horace Grant go because they didn't want to pay him.
Right.
He left. Okay, he only played, in episode 1 and 2, everybody talked about how much money that Scotty made. Michael barely made more money than Scotty. And actually, over the career, Scotty made more money basketball-wise than Michael. Michael only made money those last 2 years. Reinsdorf broke up the Bulls for one reason. He didn't want to pay Michael anymore, and it was time to pay Scotty. Listen, Jerry Reinsdorf might have had little man syndrome, but I just think, listen, the notion that he broke up the Bulls, this was all about Reinsdorf not wanting to pay those guys. He never paid anybody but Michael those 2 years, and he paid him $30 million, and he was underpaid those 2 years.
No, I mean, listen, you're right. My producer John Goulet this morning said that was his argument, is that Krause is the fall guy for Reinsdorf's tight wallet.
Yes, 100%. And I love that in episodes 1 and 2, he has this great suit on. And, he's just, not only he throw Jerry Krause under the bus, he backed over him 10, 15 times. Jerry broke up the Bulls. Jerry. I'm like, come on, man. If you wanted to pay Scottie Pippen, you got him at a great bargain, but you didn't want to pay him when it was time to pay him. You paid Michael $30 million 2 years to make it even comparable to what Scottie made his entire career. You didn't want to pay Horace Grant. Dennis, they never said how much money Dennis was making. You ever noticed that? They never Dennis wasn't making any money either. The guy had the greatest, arguably up there with the Celtics and Lakers. That's the greatest team ever. As long as they were cheap and inexpensive, he got a brand new stadium built.
Yes,
he's the guy. Listen to me. He's the one who's getting off the hook. And listen, Jerry might have had little man syndrome, but Jerry Reinsdorf made $1 gazillion, got a brand new United Center, and made $1 gazillion, and didn't want to pay anybody.
Yeah.
I got to tell you an inside story.
All right.
I was actually with Michael. We were in Lake Tahoe when he signed that first $30 million contract, and I've never told anybody this before, actually. And Michael was MFing on the phone, and he comes back to we were sitting around playing cards. I was, what's going on, man? He says, Krause just gave me my 30. In fact, I was like I was going to get a root canal to make him pay me fair market value. And he was MFing this dude so bad up and down, this dude don't want to pay me, man. And when he found out, that was the first $30 million he got. And Michael was pissed, this dude don't want to pay anybody. And that's what really happened.
Yeah. No, it's great. I appreciate you sharing that story. For the record, a lot of the Dream Team, the legendary practice, all this stuff. It was right after a season. You guys didn't, you didn't have to play. The mythology is it was the most fun thing ever. Did you guys all love the Dream Team thing, or was it boring beating Tunisia by 60?
Colin, it's probably number one, the practice of the part of anything I ever did in my life. The practices were the most intense things I've ever been through, ever, every single day. Because at that time, you had me and Karl Malone, who were the two best power forwards. We were trying to kill each other. You had Patrick and David Robinson. They were the two best centers. They were trying to kill each other. And you saw a little bit, Clyde and Michael hated each other, so they practiced against each other every day. Magic had just lost to the Bulls in the finals, and he was pissed at Scottie for locking him down. So we had these little mano-a-mano things going every day. So that's what made it so crazy and intense. The games were a cakewalk. But every day in practice, I'm playing against Karl Malone, David against Patrick, Clyde against Michael, Scottie against Magic. And it was just, what do you call it, pride, ego, whatever. We tried to kill each other every single day. That's why Magic, when you said, I've never been through anything like those practices on the Dream Team because, like I say, it was all ego, obviously, but we tried to kill each other every day. And it's the most awesome thing that I've ever experienced in my life, to be honest with you.
Well, you're always honest with us, Charles Barkley. What are you doing today, the rest of the day?
I am, I'm doing a lot of radio and TV today because I want to thank everybody for bringing back the memory of the worst experience of my life, losing to the Bulls in 93, 94. So I'm on a tour this morning talking about the last dance. But I just want to thank you and every other person on TV and radio for bringing up the worst first night, the weekend I ever had in my life, losing to the Bulls.
Those were fun teams and great teams. I tell everybody all the time, go Google the Phoenix Suns with Barkley. They were scoring 133 and not shooting threes. You guys were, it was like the Globetrotters. It was literally, you were breaking and smashing offensive records. You were better than the Bulls offensively. I don't think you were as good defensively, but you were a better offensive team than they were.
Well, it's so funny you said it because, they're making a big deal out of this documentary, Colin. I actually think the Bulls with Pippen, Jordan, and Grant, I thought they were better than the Rodman Bulls. No disrespect to Dennis. I got love for Dennis. But I actually think the team that beat us in the finals was better than the one they're making a documentary about. Obviously, Dennis' personality and Michael's last thing. but I thought Michael in his supreme prime, Scotty and Horace Grant was the best defensive team I've ever seen, and I've always said that.
Yeah. Have fun today, buddy. Great talking to you.
Thank you, man. I appreciate you having me on, man. Keep up the great work. I'm going to get back to doing absolutely nothing for this 6 straight weeks.
A legendary broadcaster and Hall of Famer, Charles Barkley. Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.